Hello. Please mute your phones and turn your attention to the public safety announcement. In the event of an emergency at NJ Transit, your safety is our top priority. Please follow these important instructions. In case of an emergency, announcements will be made over the loudspeaker or by a uniformed police officer. The emergency exit to McCarter Highway is the red stairwell located near the first security desk after you exit the boardroom. If necessary, CPR will be administered using the defibrillator. Please do not approach the dais. Documents can be presented to staff at the entrance to the boardroom. Please follow the directions of NJ Transit Police and staff. Thank you, and have a safe day.
Good evening. I hereby call to order the Board of Directors meetings of the New Jersey Transit Corporation, New Jersey Transit Rail Operations, Inc., New Jersey Transit Bus Operations, Inc., New Jersey Transit Mercer, Inc., and New Jersey Transit Morris, Inc. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now take roll call. Board Member Brontes? Here. Board Member Brown?
Here.
Board Member Thomas?
Here.
Board Member Weiss?
Here.
Board Member Caniff?
Here.
Board Member Cruz?
Here.
Vice Chair Carson?
Here.
Chair O'Connor?
Here.
For the record, Vice Chair Carson and Board Members Brown, Caniff, Thomas, and Weiss are participating remotely. Board Members Morocco and Nara are absent. This is a meeting of the New Jersey Transit Corporation and its affiliates and subsidiaries. Adequate notice has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and NJ Transit's enabling legislation. Notice was filed on July 11, 2025 with the Secretary of State and sent to newspapers of general distribution, posted in the main entrance of NJ Transit's headquarters, published on the corporation's website, and sent to each individual agency and organization that requested such notice.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 11, 2025 board meetings?
Motion, Cruz.
May I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carried. Motion carried.
Okay, Suzanne Mack will present the advisory committee report.
Work that goes into creating a $3 billion budget. From the day you adopt it, you're probably working on it. And this budget in particular, I know that Chris Calori was really pushing to make everything be within the budget, especially our very good labor agreement for our trainsmen. And I believe that you've done that. You kept to your commitment, kept to the governor's commitment to fund New Jersey Transit at a level that's never been done in the history of New Jersey Transit, trying to minimize the impact on the riders so that we don't have 20% increases that come out of nowhere, trying to deal with the world, which is rising costs and scarce resources, federal budget cuts, federal constraints. So Anna Marie and I and the committee really feel that it's important to come here and support you and just let you know how much we appreciate what you're doing for the citizens of New Jersey and also for the employees. I think this agenda is just, it's amazing if you think about it. The budget is here, capital is here, the senior citizen disabled residents, which was an unfunded mandate that we had to take on happily, but there's never been enough money for it, and we're trying to, again, to support our citizens all over the state of New Jersey. We will have our next committee meeting in September, and Anna Marie will be on board to do that, but I just really felt it was very important to tell people of the state of New Jersey, and I saw you on TV, Chris. I mean, we have crises and we have we have tragedies, unfortunately, and, you know, this is what New Jersey Transit's about. It's always been somebody who's been responsive, and the administration, from the top down, Commissioner, everybody gets together. You certainly did a wonderful job this year with the governor getting the Transportation Trust Fund wrapped up and settled. And unfortunately, this administration will leave in December, and there'll be a lot more change. So I just want to thank both of you and the board for your stewardship of getting the organization in a place where it can be transitioned. It's been amazing to watch it this year. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Suzanne. Okay, Gloria Robinson Mills will present the Senior Citizen and Disabled Resident Transportation Advisory Committee report.
I am Gloria Robinson Mills. I serve as the chairperson for ScatterTech, Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Advisory Committee. On June 23rd, 2025, the committee met and Gloucester County provided an overview of the services it offers. In addition, Brian Miguel, Senior Coordination Administrator for New Jersey Transit, presented a tutorial on the new S-Rides webpage, guiding the committee on how to navigate its features. The committee also received updates on the process for the FTA State Management Review and the ScatterTech 2026 allocations. The ScatterTech Committee has provided monthly reports to the New Jersey Transit Board relating to our membership status, ongoing projects, and accomplishments. In an email dated April 19, 2024, from the former president and CEO, Mr. Kevin Corbett, he expressed expectations of the ScatterTech Committee, which stated that we must generally commit to creating a positive and productive environment for committee members and staff. This directive has guided our approach to fulfilling our duties as members of ScatterTech. We have also taken time to reflect on our ongoing efforts to address challenges, update our bylaws, and to support member involvement in funding projects and engage in detailed presentations to county panels. Our membership status: currently, the committee continues to have 2 vacancies, one each in the South and Central regions. We will be utilizing other outreach methods to fill these openings. Finally, the board will be voting on the item concerning the local grant programs, which includes the ScatterTech amount of $46,081,000. The ScatterTech Committee fully supports this recommendation. To conclude, we will be outlining our goals and priorities for the next 6 months and through year's end. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public?
There are 8 in-person speakers and 3 pre-registered telephone speakers. Speakers, in order to give everyone an opportunity to be heard, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Priority access will be given to pre-registered in-person speakers. We will then take comments from any additional in-person speakers. Then we will go to pre-registered telephone speakers, followed by any additional telephone participants who are queued to speak. Those participating by telephone, if you have not already done so, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to speak. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. The first speaker is Sally Jane Gellert, followed by David Peter Allen.
Sally's not here. She's going to be on the phone.
Okay, is David here? Okay, David Anderson?
Yes. Here. I'm David Anderson, member of the Lackawanna Coalition and the Scatter Attack. And I want to speak briefly on concerns about bus service. And I'll just be brief. On the physical side, many buses have problems with signage, particularly the rear sign with the number. They're, for the most part, they're either missing or illegible. Also, many buses will come into a stop and the sign would be in the reverse order. You know, instead of, for instance, like a 76 going to Hackensack, it'll say 76 Newark Penn. And I've asked drivers, and they've often said, we can't turn it around, you know. So I guess there are problems there. There are also sometimes some of the buses, when they come to a stop, there's like a lurch, and many people have actually said that we've been rear-ended. And there's certain numbers that you can tell that's the kind of bus that will do that. That's a minor thing. Of more pressing concern is fare box recovery. Many buses that my friends and I take, the tap and go machines either won't work or they're spotty. The driver will say, please, you know, try it again. And another thing on the physical side briefly, many of the back doors will not work. Or they'll be working and then they'll just stop working. The driver says, you have to go out the front door. So that can create some issues and, you know, confusion, slowing the dwell time before the bus can move again. But on the cash side again, many cash boxes are either jammed or won't take dollar bills and won't take paper. And this whole thing, I think, it has to be impacting our fare box recovery. So that's pretty much it on the bus. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is David Peter Allen, followed by Vito Havrilla.
Hi, good evening. I am David Peter Allen, and I am making a personal statement. As I will explain, I am making it clear that I speak only for myself and for nobody else. Last month, Attorney Chris Calori, in his official capacity as President and CEO of NJ Transit, said that he respects the Constitution and the First and 14th Amendments. I express my deep gratitude for that statement, sir. And I have a compelling reason for doing so. I might soon have to depend on it. At a meeting of the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Advisory Committee, ScatterTAC, held on June 23rd, Michael Vieira, president of the New Jersey Council on Special Transportation, COST, a private sector trade association incorporated under Section 501c6 of the Internal Revenue Code, publicly opened the meeting with a statement accusing me of speaking on behalf of the committee when I made a statement at this forum on May 14th, even though he also acknowledged that at the time that I was making a personal statement. A recording of that meeting can be found on srides.com, and my statement from May 14th is part of the board's records of that meeting. Mr. Vieira also stated that his organization excommunicated me and would refuse to answer any questions from me and called for censorship against me, despite my status as a ScatterTAC member, a status that he now threatens. He could have come to this forum and told his side of the story, but he demanded my expulsion instead. I was not furnished with the actual accusatory instrument until 21 days after I was blindsided when it was read into the record at the meeting. I was told last Wednesday that I would have only until tomorrow to submit a memorandum in my own defense. Despite such short notice, I filed it today. New Jersey Transit is a state agency which triggers due process rights under the 14th Amendment. That means I have a right to a hearing that is fair. I am calling for fairness while this matter runs its course. I have never faced a charge like this before, and Article 3, Section 3, Clause 3 of the Scattertack bylaws says that a first offense of this rule that I am accused of violating carries a penalty of a warning and not expulsion. But I have not yet been assured that I am not facing expulsion. I am innocent of the accusation, which I also believe to be defective as a matter of law. I have spent 40 years developing a strong local and national reputation in this field. I will do what I can to avoid losing that reputation, which a penalty as drastic as expulsion could cause. What I said is protected by the First Amendment and by Article 1, Sections 6 and 18 of the New Jersey Constitution. I had a right to say it. As I said then, it was a personal statement, speaking only for myself.
Thank you. The next speaker is Vito Havrilla, followed by Nick Gia.
Hi, I'm Vito Havrilla. I'm the Legislative Director and Vice Chair of the Lackawanna Coalition. Sally Gellert will be on the phone to give the second half. I will be giving the first half of our board statement. Our website's lackawannacoalition.org, info@lackawannacoalition.org, and we also publish the railgram. See me if you want a copy of it. Okay. First item. NJT Finance, $121 million. Where are you getting that money? Revenue projection of a 10% increase seems quite optimistic. How does NJT arrive at that projection? And is it realistic? We see no explanation. You show a labor cost decrease, which is counterintuitive. Please explain that. You compare budget to budget rather than fiscal year 2025 projections to fiscal year 2026 budget without explanation of differences between this year's budget and projection. 2507-32 funds for Scattertack and related programs. We know that these are important programs, and particularly note the improvement in Access Link's transparency on its Writer's Choice program with multiple presentations at different times. We hope that this is a sign of things to come. Number 3, rail stations conditions. We have been approached by riders regarding both the Summit Station staircase and Morristown and Morris Plains' lack of certain accessibility features. Patrick Allen of Summit noted a sign on the out-of-service staircase completion project projected for summer 26, way too long for a staircase closed since fall 2024. Ron Weissman of Mendham has suggested better wayfinding signs at Morristown and accessible doors, which seems reasonable. We're not sure that Morris Plain is so easy to remedy. We encourage New Jersey Transit to work on accessibility for the full system. We look forward to updates on these projects. Lastly, our next meeting is at the Summit Library, Monday, the 28th of July. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Nick Gia, followed by Janelle Javier.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Nick Gia. I am the founder of the group ROOT, Restore Our Transit in Essex, which is a grassroots organization that was born out of my desire to do something special for my son on his 5th birthday. I live in Montclair, walking distance from the Walnut Street train station. I bought my son tickets to a hockey game on Long Island for his birthday. Since there was no opportunity for me to take convenient transit from there, we went to Secaucus. We connected to the Long Island Railroad at Penn, had a nice day, even though the game didn't go the way I wanted it to, and then came back. At that point, my son, who is 5 years old, had been gone for 8 hours, and he did not want to make that mile-long walk from the platform at Secaucus to our car. So I slung 50 pounds of deadweight 5-year-old over my shoulder, and I walked. And during that walk, I thought about how I paid to be walking distance from a train station. I can see where the DeKalb 66 bus used to stop from outside my home office window. And if you make a right out of my house and walk 8 minutes, you can go where the DeKalb 33 used to stop. And that is when ROOT was born. We realized that there are hundreds of thousands of people now in Essex County who are experiencing transit desert conditions, especially during the off-peak hours, because DeCamp Bus is not running, and because the weekend train service, which is currently running every 2 hours between Hoboken and Bay Street, is inadequate for our current needs and for the current demand. We have 2 requests moving forward. We would like hourly weekend train service on the Montclair-Boonton line, terminating at least as far west as MSU, if not all the way out to Mountain Lakes to close that entire gap, and 7-day bus service mirroring communities served by the old DeCamp 33, 44, 66, and 88 lines. I applaud Chris Kaluri for having a meeting with Mayor Baskerville and a group from the Township of Montclair in order to get this process rolling. I would ask that we move forward expeditiously as we move into surveys and studies, because right now, again, we have hundreds of thousands of riders who are experiencing transit desert conditions. Within this scenario, there is additional ridership that could easily be unlocked. And because DeCamp Bus no longer exists, it is incumbent on this body to provide that level of service to people. We appreciate everything that has been done so far. I know that as the process moves forward, you will be seeing a lot more of me and a lot of other folks within the community. But just wanted to be here and reiterate that I appreciate the steps that have been taken. But at this point, Essex County needs to improve its service, and we need to make sure we are looking toward that in subsequent years, if not this. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, it's either Janelle or Janelli Javier, and then followed by Amrin Ahmed.
Good evening, and my name is Janelli Javier. I'm a summer fellow at Tri-State Transportation Campaign, a nonprofit advocacy group that focuses on transforming transportation across the tri-state area to create a more equitable, safer, and sustainable future for everyone. During my time at TSTC, it has been made clear how much more reliable, affordable, and accessible NJ Transit can become for the people who rely on it most. That's why I'm here today to address the need for adequate funding for NJ Transit. NJ Transit plays a huge role in the state, and not just for riders, as it contributes to the economy with $21.6 to $30.8 billion in annual economic benefits to New Jersey. Imagine the prosperity NJ Transit would bring to New Jersey if it had the permanent funding source that it and its riders deserve. Investing in streamlining service across the state would incentivize more ridership. As a woman and a person of color, I understand firsthand how fare increases disproportionately impact the very communities I represent. A fully funded NJ Transit would enhance commuters' quality of life by providing reliable service to the essentials, such as taking the bus or train to work, grocery stores, laundromats, doctor's appointments, and visiting family and friends. Instead of NJ Transit relying on its riders to carry the system on their backs, there's an opportunity to enhance accessibility and equity for all New Jerseyans with a stable funding source for the agency. Riders deserve greater investment to see their service improve significantly if fares are set to increase annually. Last year, the indefinite annual fare hike was passed before the corporate transit fee was introduced due to the continued lack of proper funding. Although the corporate transit fee has helped NJ Transit pay off almost $1 billion of its debt, serving as a good source of funding, it's still not enough. Public transit isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Now more than ever, it is the time to find a permanent funding source. I urge the NJ legislature to help find a permanent dedicated funding source. Why wait to make changes that will positively impact not just NJ Transit and the state, but the very people who depend on public transit every day? The earlier the change, the earlier we can reap the benefits. Thank you, and I brought hard copies if I could share them with everyone.
If you can just give them. Thank you. The next speaker is Amrin Ahmed, followed by Diego Guerrera.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amrin Ahmed. I'm a summer fellow at Tri-State Transportation Campaign. TSCC is a nonprofit advocacy organization that is dedicated to improving transportation all across the tri-state area. I'm here to urge the board to revisit the annual fare hike policy and prioritize stable, dedicated funding for NJT. NJT is a lifeline for millions of residents and a pillar of New Jersey's economy, yet it remains severely underfunded. NJT was set to face $1 billion deficit by 2026.
Megan,
We can't hear.
we keep losing audio.
I apologize, we're having some technical difficulties. Please stand by
Okay.
one moment.
Okay.
Please stand by. We just had some system issues. We're going to have you start over.
Okay.
Okay, you
okay,
can go
yeah.
now.
Okay.
We're going to reset your time.
Okay, I've
I'm
already,
sorry.
I could, okay, yeah. These, okay, I'll just continue from where I was. These hikes hurt everyone, especially low-income families and people of color who rely on NJT as their primary means of getting to work, school, and essential services. However, historically, fare increases cause ridership to go down, so making transportation unaffordable will deepen existing inequalities. As a college student, I see this impact firsthand. A friend of mine commutes daily from New Jersey to CUNY City College in New York. She already struggles to afford the cost of travel. There have been times when she had to skip meals or cancel plans just to pay for transit. She works part-time while in school. Her job is also in New York, and most of her paycheck goes towards transportation. With the annual fare hikes, her situation and that of countless others will only get worse. Riders should never have to choose between a meal and a ride. The decision for annual fare hikes was made before the corporate transit fee was passed. Now that this funding is in place, it's time to revisit that decision and stop the automatic fare hikes every year. Fare hikes should be the last resort. There are plenty of other viable funding mechanisms that can help NJT's budget crisis. New Jersey cannot function without NJT. It supports economic growth, reduces traffic congestion, prevents billions of additional vehicles on our roads, cuts pollution, and provides mobility to working-class families across the state. NJT is not just a service, it's an essential part of the state's infrastructure. But despite its importance, it's not funded like one. I urge the board to stop this burden on riders and prioritize long-term, stable funding solutions to New Jersey Transit in a way that makes transit affordable and reliable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker is Diego Guerrero, followed by the telephone speakers.
Good evening. My name is Diego Guerrero, and I'm currently also a summer fellow at the Tri-State Transportation Campaign. TSTC is a nonprofit advocacy and policy organization that is dedicated to transportation equity in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. My time with the organization has taught me the inequalities and struggles people face due to the lack of accessible transportation. I'm here to comment on the annual budget and my opposition to fare hikes. NJ Transit plays a vital role in the region, moving more than 7,200 riders every day. Riders rely on public transportation not as a matter of convenience, but as a daily necessity to connect them to jobs, education, and essential services. Raising fares is not just inconvenient, but also an injustice to many. Our investment is not being allocated to well-needed improvements. Riders are paying more, but still face delays, overcrowding, and aging infrastructure. According to the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, low-income households spend nearly 30% of their income on transit, compared to 30% from higher-income households. In other words, money that can be spent on housing, food, and healthcare is instead consumed by rising transportation costs. Such inequitable and unsustainable hikes have and will continue to worsen the quality of life for those who are already struggling. Furthermore, when service becomes unreliable, people often turn to driving as a last resort. An increase in car dependency also means an increase in traffic congestion and air pollution. We understand that NJ Transit faces budgetary challenges. However, the burden should not be faced on working-class residents. Instead, I urge the board and New Jersey legislators to identify funding sources that are recurring and sustainable, sources that grow with time and do not fall on those who can afford it the least. New Jersey is planning to spend $11 billion on the New Jersey Turnpike expansion project from Newark to New Jersey City. New Jersey should prioritize spending the state's public transit system as they do the roads. In addition to this, we should also push to make the corporate transit fee permanent, as it is already filling funding gaps. New Jersey depends on a transit system that is affordable and reliable. Continuing fare hikes will not fix New Jersey Transit's long-term physical challenges, but will only deepen inequality. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, please open the floor to public comments by telephone participants. Please stand by.
Thank you for calling the conference center. Please hold, and an operator will be with you momentarily.
Good afternoon, conference center. May I please have your conference entry code? Hello, this is the operator speaking to you live. Can you please tell me your entry code? I do apologize. I'm not able to hear you. I believe this may be the control room. Mark, if you're there, can you hear me? I am not receiving audio at this time on this line.
How about now? You got me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, this is control room. We'll be joining the meeting with the phone callers.
Quick sound test because I'm getting like the line's breaking up a bit.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, I'll connect this line and it'll be live when I join. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's time for the telephone public comments.
Got it. Joining you now. Stand by.
Thanks.
Operator, are you able to hear me?
Confirmed, I can hear you now. And would you like to go ahead with telephone speakers?
I'm sorry. Operator, please open the floor to public comments by telephone participants.
Certainly. As a reminder, if you have not already done so, please press *1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to speak. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes for their public comment. A warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining, and again with 15 seconds remaining. And there are 6 public comments in queue. The first public comment is coming from Sally Jane Gellert. Sally, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Thank you. Good evening. Sorry I'm not there in person. The Lackawanna Coalition, of which I am chair, is a member of RUN, the Rail Users Network, and so we are aware of transit issues nationally as well as locally. Here in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, many New Jerseyans take SEPTA, including several of our members. SEPTA is in big trouble. Service cuts in August, fare increase in September, massive cuts starting January 1st, 2026, including the loss of 5 regional rail lines, including the Trenton line. This means the loss of NJT SEPTA connection at the Trenton Transit Center. Even though New Jersey Transit long-distance buses, private bus companies, and Amtrak remain as options to Philadelphia, they do not work for everyone. The River Line connects to Philadelphia service at Walter Rand Transportation Center via Pat Poe or Pennsauken via the Atlantic City Line. However, the River Line has an early closing time because it shares tracks with Freight Rail. Real property owned by New Jersey Transit. We encourage everyone to look at this list of rights-of-way, ROWs, that are owned by New Jersey Transit, both active and inactive passenger ROW and freight service. We note the acquisition from Norfolk Southern of a 0.38-acre property as part of the Orange Branch Preservation Project. What is this project? That brings up transparency. In preparing the statement, we had a lot of questions, particularly looking at the budget. It took our communications director an internet search to find a 43-page discussion document of your answers to questions by the governor and legislators. Why is this document not easily available on the New Jersey Transit website for the general public? Why did the governor and legislators even need to ask these questions? We have a link on our written statement to that document. It is a PDF. It is on pub.njledge.state.nj.us. There's a whole lot. We want to thank the Millburn Town Committee for its hospitality over the years to the Lackawanna Coalition, and currently for honoring their former mayor and our longtime member, Elaine Becker, at their meeting this week. She has been invaluable with her knowledge of how towns work, contacts with other town officials, and through the New Jersey League of Municipalities. Elaine had the expertise to help our outreach to be as effective as possible, and she was always ready and willing to help improve that outreach. We will continue to reach out to towns as we have done with Summit, as we are working now to look at the Morristown station. And we encourage people to join our calls either in person at the Summit Library or on
15
Zoom
seconds remaining.
and pick up a copy of the Railgram. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Matty Bukis Highland. Matty, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Before I begin, can you hear me okay, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. My name is Matty Bukis Highland, and I'm a longtime advocate for people with developmental disabilities. Speaking of, it's Disability Pride Month in the month of July, ladies and gents. So, and this is the 35th anniversary that President George Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act, a law prohibiting discrimination for people with disabilities. I do applaud the legislature and the governor for passing the New Jersey Transit budget, even though it might have had some ups and downs. But the budget, this is the final New Jersey Transit and the budget in the Phil Murphy era, as he'll be leaving office on January 20th, 2026. That means either Mikey, Cheryl, Jeff Chittarelli will have to continue on with that. They can maybe keep it like Carol Connor or Chris Calori on board. But in reality, it's nice to see that New Jersey Transit is finally getting the updates that it needs. Like Amtrak is expanding to Long Island where I live and going to Hicksville, which is in the town of Oyster Bay, and Ronkonkoma, which is in the town of Isa, both on the Long Island Railroad, which connects in Penn Station. So with that being said, folks, please have a happy and healthy summer, and please stay safe. God bless you all. Thank you, operator.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Adam Reich. Adam, your line is live, and your time will now begin.
Good evening. I understand the board is set to vote on the budget tonight, and I want to stress yet again that under state law, specifically NJSA 27:25-8, New Jersey Transit is required to hold a round of 10 public hearings before any fare increase. The hearings you held in 2024 covered you for the July 1st, 2024 increase, but you have not held these required 10 public hearings. The board insists time and time again, it is not a rubber stamp, yet this has gone unchecked. Plainly, you would not be in violation of the law if you had chosen to hold these hearings, but there's a very real case to be made that you are in violation of the law by implementing a fare increase without 10 fare hearings. It says any fare increase, not any fare increase plan, not any multi-year plan, any increase. Your notices say when any increase takes effect. It's clear that's not what the legislature had in mind. There's no way you can credibly argue that the legislature intended to allow you to raise fares in perpetuity without a fare increase. Board Member Weiss and Vice Chair Carson, you respectively represent the regular bus and regular rail riders. Those are the seats you are allocated to. Please speak on the record. Tell your ridership something. There was nothing meaningful to compensate for the loss of service for 4 days. Extending a June pass to July when we had already ordered our passes doesn't really do anything for us. The fact that we rarely hear from you is a problem. I would ask, please make yourselves available to the public in some way, shape, or form, and please make a point of speaking on the record. Even if you disagree with what members of the public like me have to say, it is imperative that we hear from you if you're going to occupy seats that are allocated to regular riders. If you cannot or are unwilling to do that, please vacate your seat so that somebody who is willing to speak will do so. I would also stress areas that need to improve this year. Customer service. Customer service routinely closes out customer service complaints via the Salesforce forms while ignoring parts of inquiries. They follow up and close it without comment. At the very least, there needs to be tracking. It should mark who is closing out your appeal or your complaint, not just when they are closing out. Station repairs also need to improve. Trenton has had escalators out for months. Edison has had 3 car lengths worth of platform out of service for months towards Trenton. These are things that need to improve, and they need to improve fast. Board members, we need to hear you on these points. Lastly, I know David Peter Allen is a zealous advocate, and he always makes painfully clear whenever he goes to comment at any of these meetings that he is speaking in his individual capacity. I would urge New Jersey Transit to please understand that, give him the benefit of any doubt, and please do not do something that will cause a chilling effect on dedicated advocates who are only looking out for riders and the public in speaking to you honestly, firmly, but fairly, including and especially Mr. Allen. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Richard Grant. Richard, your line is live and your time will now begin.
In April, the board authorized the purchase of 228 buses. That's 208 articulated diesel plus 20 electric. With the bus fleet now at 2,356, the 8 electric buses operating only in Camden comprise 1/3 of 1% of the fleet, and 20 more would bring that up to 1.19%. Mass transit buses have a minimum useful service life of 12 years. Say a new diesel bus started its Newark route in 2008, the year the Environmental Justice Bill was first introduced in a state legislative session, and ended its useful service life in 2020, the year Governor Murphy signed that bill into law. Every day in service, emitting fumes inhaled by riders, drivers, mechanics, anyone who lives or works near its route in a city where it's estimated 1 in 4 children have asthma. The fumes not only can trigger asthma attacks and worsen existing conditions, but also increase the risk of stroke, lung cancer, premature death, contribute to developing cardiovascular disease, lead to lung inflammation and damage, and in reduced lung function. So no accident that in 2020, Governor Murphy not only signed that environmental justice bill, but also a bill to require NJ Transit to phase in more zero-emission buses in bus purchases. Now in 2025, NJ Transit wants to purchase 1,000 buses, 42.5% of the fleet, to replace aging ones prone to mechanical problems. Under the 2020 law, in purchases made from 2025 to year-end 2026, at least 10% must be zero emission. It appears, though, that in the purchase totaling 228 buses, 20 electric buses would be no more than 8.77%. Jersey residents' health should be a compelling enough reason to purchase more electric buses, but then so are the economics. Their higher upfront sticker prices partly offset by their lower operating costs. So a total cost of ownership comparison with diesel would be warranted. The price of diesel fuel typically costs more than electricity and is more volatile. Electric buses with fewer moving parts have lower maintenance costs, have longer periods between repairs, and are less prone to mechanical problems that can require their replacement. If the electric buses are purchased with the vehicle-to-grid technology option, they can feed stored battery energy into the grid, which utilities pay for, and maybe even provide power to bus stations and garages during an outage. Is any board member current on the agency's garage charging efforts or on how other transit agencies are already deploying wireless charging technology? The last time the Energy and Sustainability Policies Committee meeting agenda topics including zero.
The next public comment is coming from Jackie. Jackie, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm actually a resident that lives near the Annandale train station, and it has been very challenging with the extremely loud horn that roars through our quiet neighborhood multiple times, even late at night. This disrupts our sleep, poses serious safety risks, especially for residents who are hearing impaired, and affects local pets. The horn's intensity is particularly harmful to pets. According to veterinarian expert Lee Pickett, VMD, sustained exposure to 90 dB or more leads to hearing loss. Even brief exposure to 140 dB can cause permanent damage. Many train horns exceed these levels, and pets' ears are even more sensitive than ours. Loud, sudden, and repeated sounds like these can cause real hearing damage, stress, and anxiety in dogs and cats. Some neighbors also worry that crossing gates could block access to and from their houses if they malfunction, potentially trapping residents. That's why I urge New Jersey Transit to consider quieter, safer crossing technologies already deployed successfully in European residential areas. I've emailed the board a brief reference chart, 2 very short video clip links, and a satellite view of the station and the 2 to 3 surrounding houses north of the station. One more quick thing, another point I'd like to make. In New Jersey, there is a well-established legal principle known as the implied covenant of quiet enjoyment. It's not a single written law, but a binding legal promise that's recognized through decades of state case law. And long story shortest, what's another thing? I don't know if are you able to view or, well, am I even allowed to interact with you in this 3-minute session?
1 minute remaining.
So, well, basically the station here, it has no gate, it has no lights, but I have provided a variety of alternatives, and they would be non-disruptive, and we really appreciate your consideration. I also included in the document that I emailed to you several cost estimates as well. And basically, they would also provide signal visors so that the proposed red lights, direct light they would direct the light towards the drivers while reducing
15
glare.
seconds remaining.
Thank you. Reducing glare and spillover into nearby homes. I'm sorry I wasn't able to fully prepare for this meeting. I wasn't well today, but I appreciate your consideration and your attention to this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Andy Weiss. Andy, your line is live and your time will now begin. Andy, your line is live. Please check your mute button. Your time will now begin.
Good evening. Mr. Kaluri, how do you like the $500 million corporate office? You like it, right? Nice and fancy. It looks like you guys have fancy furniture and plenty of air conditioning. I love the furniture. How much are those seats? $1,000 each? The NJ Transit executives are living in luxury at the corporate office while NJ Transit bus riders have ripped bus seats and roaches. NJ Transit buses are filthy with roaches, but the $500 million NJ Transit corporate office is state-of-the-art. The executives have fancy furniture, offices, beautiful elevators, I'm sure. The hallways are nice and clean, sparkling, right, Mr. Kaluri? The NJ Transit motto should be let them eat cake. Again, the NJ Transit motto should be let them eat cake. You are the worst corporate office. You are the worst public transit corporate office in America. The Democrat Party runs NJ Transit and government like the mafia. Every late bus, take it out on Democrats. Again, every late bus to be kicked out of office. You need to be kicked out of office. You have ruined New Jersey. You have ruined NJ Transit. The Democrats run the most corrupt government. The Democrats lie and are ruining New Jersey. Everything's expensive. I can't even afford my heat, my electric. The Democrats lie and are ruining New Jersey. Again, the Democrats lie and are ruining New Jersey. Also, we need an independent customer advocate that does not report to the awful and incompetent NJ Transit Board. And you are awful and incompetent. You don't know what you're doing. The NJ Transit Board is awful and should never be in charge of our customer advocate. Never, 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 never. The NJ Transit Board is awful and should never be in charge of our customer advocate. We need an independent customer advocate. We have a bill in the legislature sponsored by Raj Mukherjee. I think it's Bill S1190. We need
15 seconds, Jermaine.
An independent NJ Transit customer advocate. The board should not control anything with the customer advocate. You have failed twice, once with Stuart Mader and once with Frank. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Doug O'Malley. Doug, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Good evening, members of the New Jersey Transit Board. My name is Doug O'Malley. I serve as Director of Environment New Jersey. Maybe the last speaker speaking tonight, also might be the least speaker speaking tonight as well. And I want to start off just by thanking the folks that fixed the technical issues of speaking. I was able to listen to most of the meeting, but not all of it. So thank you. Kind of obviously hope that any technical issue on New Jersey Transit will be fixed so quickly. I wanted to first start off my comments really by thanking the work that New Jersey Transit employees did on Monday night. It is very easy the next day to kind of think that the floods that we saw somehow won't impact us again. But honestly, every bus operator out there that had to deal with that storm was dealing with something that we honestly haven't seen, especially in Union County. The exceedances in rainfall were beyond Henri, and in some cases were close to Ida levels. And this was a storm that essentially was just a Monday night rainstorm. This is a reminder that obviously, and our hearts go out to the two individuals who lost their lives in Plainfield. This is a reminder that we are living in a warmer world and a more dangerous world. And obviously, when we talk about climate resilience, it's not a talking point. It's very clearly important. And obviously for New Jersey Transit, the work on the coastline and getting that back up and running. And then the simple reality of the river line is always vulnerable. Thankfully, it was not in the eye of the storm. I wanted to make two comments tonight regarding the FY26 budget that's in front of you. First, just to echo the critical nature of actually having public hearings on the fare hike that all transit riders have been paying since the 1st of July. July 1st, for Mets fans at least, is known as Bobby Bonilla Day. It should not be known for New Jersey Transit riders as Fare Hike Day in perpetuity. That is a clear injustice, especially for bus riders who have the least ability to pay more on a continuous basis. We should not be having fare riders literally priced out of transit. Second, the budget that is in front of you is relying on ongoing budget raids. The Clean Energy Fund was rated by twice its normal level to up to $140 million. This is a reminder that we need dedicated funding. The corporate transit fee provides the promise of dedication without actually dedicating those dollars. It is a temporary funding source. We need dedicated long-term funding that's approved by the voters so that we can have, just like the gas tax, we can have funds that we can bond off.
15 seconds.
Because this is a one-time raid. Next time you raid that money, you're going to be cutting money for solar. You're going to be cutting money for low-income communities that desperately need it. We need transit, but we need to fund it. It needs to be dedicated. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next public comment is coming from Jason Anthony. Jason, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Good evening, New Jersey Transit Corporation Board. Jason Anthony, the Transit Guru, member of the Long Island Railroad 88 Task Force. Francis K. O'Connor, pay attention, please. Chris Calori, pay attention, please. As you guys know, pay attention, please. Thank you. As you guys know, July is Disability Pride Month. It is very disappointing that your entity, Chris Calori, pay attention. Thank you very much. It is very disrespectful, Chris Calori. Chris Calori, thank you, pay attention. It's very disrespectful that last month you disrespected me as a New Yorker, that your agency has to slam a fare increase in the second year in a row, being aware that most of your trains comes into my turf, that's Penn Station, New York. When is it that you, Francis K. O'Connor, and the rest of your board, that most of them are in teams not paying attention, being disrespectful to a New Yorker, being aware that we demand more service but not paying more? How dare you guys not being aware that July is Disability Pride Month and not do anything for those with people with disabilities and the elderly?
1 minute.
And I want to address the person from ScatterTag that doesn't have the dignity to come to Penn Station and see how great Long Island Railroad cares with our customers that use the Long Island Railroad. Because we never got an answer from you, Chris Calori, of how your agency treats my customers from the Empire State when they use your trains that is filled with roaches, taped seats, because it's all over the place, Chris, and we expect an apology from you, and we expect a visit from you, Francis K. O'Connor, and the rest of the board to Penn Station and to the Port Authority bus terminal and to the George Washington Bridge bus terminal, because that's where the most of the people go, not to Newark Penn Station, not to Secaucus. So I expect a visit from you, all of y'all, then within the next month, or if not, I'll be demanding resignations effective immediately. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And there were no other public comments in queue at this time.
Thank you, public speakers. Are there any board member comments? Okay.
Okay, Chris will present the President and CEO monthly report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to touch base on a few topics tonight. Number one, yesterday I was on a train that unfortunately struck a trespasser at 8 in the morning. This issue of how fast we're able to process the scene is something that I've talked to this board about, because obviously it causes a lot of logistical issues when we encounter that kind of an incident. What I want to assure you, and because I not only was on the train, I got out of the train and was able to observe the work of our police department as well as the rail ops folks. While it took 2 hours to process the scene, I can tell you, as someone who observed from start to finish, the work that happens to process the scene is methodical. It takes time to investigate. The medical examiner has to show up, and then the delivery person has to show up. But what I was so proud of our team was not only did it happen in the most efficient way possible, but we were able to move the people on the train that I was on to another train to get them to the destination. I say all this because this is, we have trespasser incidents roughly 24 times a year, and it is absolutely a challenge from a logistical standpoint to move these trains when that happens. But what I want to end with on that point is at the end of the day, a human being lost his life in this instance. What I don't want us to ever forget, and I was so proud of the passengers on our train for being respectful, of being understanding of what happened, and acknowledging the fact that, yes, it was an inconvenience, but they all understood that it was a scene and the person may not have had peace when he was living, but I'm sure every one of the passengers was hoping that he finds peace in heaven. That, to me, was a very important moment, but I just wanted to say that I was so proud of the work of our rail and police department. On to FIFA. As you know, New Jersey, Mr. Chairman, conducted 9 games at MetLife Center over the last several weeks. We moved about 150,000 of our customers through the games. In the last night, on Sunday night, on the night of the finals, just the outward bound traffic, we moved 20,390 people. And Mr. Chairman, I know you, along with the state police, our rail ops, and our police department did a remarkable job of making sure we executed that event and, frankly, the entire tournament with as much efficiency and professionalism as possible while running a regular commuter service. Equally important, I was so proud of the 200 ambassadors that were on scene every single tournament, making sure that the fans got to their location, understood the directions, and made sure they got to their place safely and efficiently. I just wanted to say that it was a moment that I was proud of, and Mr. Chairman, I know you are, and I certainly know that the governor was. It was not an easy thing, but ultimately, next year, we're going to move, hopefully, more than what we moved this year. But the fact that we've already were able to move well over 20,000 people an hour without the improvements that are going to be in place next year is a testament to the colleagues who worked the tournaments. I want to talk to you quickly about the BLET agreement that I know you're going to consider today. I know Tommy Haas is here, the general chairman of BLET. Look, it was, as you all know, a difficult and contentious negotiation, but what we ended up with did not violate the fundamental principle that the governor and I laid out, which is we wanted something that was fiscally responsible, but also met the needs of the union. And I think we've gotten an agreement that you're going to consider today that did just that. But we did something else. And I think something else is a precedent for how contracts from this point on can and should be negotiated by New Jersey Transit, where any additional money above the pattern must be paid for by the union. The reason is simple. You heard 3 wonderful young summer associates from Tri-State Campaign today talk about the need to make sure we run a budget that is equitable, that is balanced, that's focused on ridership. And the only way we can do that is if we are mindful of the money we get, both from the riders and from the legislature, but we need to make sure that the deals we strike with unions meet our fundamental obligation for fiscal responsibility while trying to meet their need. So how did we meet these obligations, and what did the union give back? I want to talk about that for a second. For the first time, BLET members gave back 3% of their gross wage contributions to health care. No other union is doing that. 2, their hourly workday is 9 hours compared to 8 hours before the agreement was signed, meaning before, at the end of the 8th hour, they got a time and a half. Now they got to work 9 hours before they get a time and a half. 3rd, we reduced the deadhead time that the union got before. Finally, we got the union to agree to mandatory training at their house instead of coming to our work and doing. We have multiple mandatory training sessions that all of us, including me, have to do, and so do the unions. The exposure for us typically was when we had the union member come and do the training at work. We had to find somebody else to backfill that position, and we typically had to pay time and a half for it. And if we weren't able to get the union member to do the training on their regular day, we had to pay them time and a half to come and do it on a day that they were off. So these four things alone essentially made sure we covered any additional money we gave over pattern. I give Tommy and his members a lot of credit. It was not an easy decision, I'm sure, for him to give up all these things. And I know that this is the right decision for New Jersey Transit and the taxpayers for one reason. No other union that is of any consequence has come to my door and said, I want the same deal. What does that tell you? That the givebacks were real, they were consequential, and they gave New Jersey Transit and what we had asked for, which is givebacks that had value. That, to me, is the most important thing. Let me just talk about the operating budget. You've heard a lot of people talk about the operating budget today. I'm very proud of the work that my colleagues did, but I'm so proud of the commitment that this governor has made. Governor Murphy, for 7.5 years, and this is his last budget, has committed to making sure New Jersey Transit, despite some of the most incredible challenges we've had stable funding. The legislature and the governor gave us corporate transit fees. That really essentially helped us meet and fill the money that we got from the federal government during COVID. But we went one step further in this year's operating budget. And this was an important principle for me. The people have talked about fare increases. By the way, to Adam's point, I'm so glad you said something about David Peter Allen speaking as a private citizen. Adam, perhaps you should just clarify that when you speak, you don't speak for the Civil Service Commission and that you're speaking for yourself, just for your own protection. The one thing I want to say about the operating budget that is important is when we put a budget in front of you, we have the obligation to make sure that we not only ask for the necessary money, but we provide you with real cuts and revenue generation opportunities that will reduce the amount of money we ask from the legislature. We were originally going to ask for 7.7%. We ended up getting a 5.1% increase in our budget this year because we have identified over $100 million in new revenues and savings for this upcoming year. The reason for that increase, by the way, is not so we can have fancy things. It's because most of the private bus carriers that we have relied on over the years have abandoned routes that we had to pick up. That was the biggest driver of our expense. We had a $30 million in labor cost increase that is mandatory, that is part of this budget, that is higher than it was last year. And finally, Access Link is the most important service we provide to the disabled community. That is a service that has gone up exponentially from last year to this year, and that is one of the reasons why we've asked for this increase. So every penny of increase that we've asked for is accounted for, is budgeted in a thoughtful way. But what I want to assure you, Mr. Chairman and the board members, is that the budget in front of you has been thought about. We have really worked hard to make sure we prove to you and the legislature that we're willing to do our part to reduce the expenditures where appropriate. With that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Board Member Cruz will present the Operations and Customer Service Committee report.
Thank you, Chair. The Operations and Customer Service Committee received an update on trends, analysis, and actions for rail, bus, light rail, and access link, an update from the customer advocate, and an update on the cost of service. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Wise will present the Administration Committee report.
The Administration Committee received a financial update. This included a summary of operating results compared to previous year's comparable period and fiscal year 25 budget, 12-month fare box revenue compared to pre-COVID, major balance sheet items, and federal COVID-19 relief grant drawdown summary. Additional information was provided as part of the agenda materials, including the cost of service, key performance indicators, 12-month fare box recovery, history of vacancies, attrition and hires, ridership and revenue, and a monthly budget to actual comparison for May 2025. The committee also received updates from Human Resources and Equal Employment Opportunity and Affirmative Action. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Board Member Wise will also present the Capital Planning, Policy, and Privatization Committee report.
Thank you, Chair. The Capital Planning, Policy, and Privatization Committee reviewed the board items for fiscal year 2026 authorization to secure capital funding, NJ Transit fiscal year 2026 grant programs, local transportation for senior citizens, persons with disabilities, rural and low-income residents, and New Jersey Transit-owned real estate transmittal. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Board Member Abrantes will present the Safety Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Safety Committee received a comprehensive update on key safety performance indicators for rail, light rail, bus, access link, and construction safety covering the period of Q1 2024 through Q1 2025. Agency Safety Management emphasized its ongoing commitment to education, outreach, and community engagement, prioritizing high-risk areas through targeting programs. In Q1 2025 alone, the Safety Education Team delivered 82 rail, bus, and pedestrian safety awareness presentations, reaching approximately 12,150 individuals across 42 elementary schools, 13 middle schools, 16 high schools, and 11 adult organizations. Notably, 16 of these sessions were part of the special SEAT program, providing vital safety education to 170 students with special needs. Chief Trezullo briefed the board safety members on department's work during the month of June concerning outreach to risk individuals, Narcan deployments, and the fact that officers continue to enforce the no smoking regulations at New Jersey Transit stations and terminals. In addition, the chief updated the committee members regarding the ongoing 2026 FIFA World Cup planning, the recent police award ceremony, as well as the recent award ceremony and graduation of 6 new police recruits. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Chris, will you present the action items?
Yes. We're going to present item 250734 first. For the record, board members Abrantes, Brown, and Thomas are recused from item 2507-34 and will not comment or vote on the item.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask Jim Sincaglia, the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Rail Operations, to present item 2507-34.
Thank you, Chris. We are presenting for approval item 2507-34, proposed labor agreement, New Jersey Transit Rail Operations Incorporated, and the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen. Authorization is requested to approve the economic terms and other proposed conditions in this set forth in the May 18, 2025 Memoranda of Understanding, Exhibit A, negotiated by New Jersey Transit Rail Operations Incorporated and the BLET and staff, and authorize the President and CEO or his designee to take all necessary steps to finalize and implement same. We ask for your approval of item 2507-34.
May I have a motion to approve board item 2507-34?
Motion, Cruz.
May I have a second?
Second, Weiss.
Any discussion? Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Carson?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I want to call up Jackie Stanford, the SVP and Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer, to present item 2507-30.
Thank you, Chris. We are presenting for approval item number 2507-30, fiscal year 2026 operating budget. Authorization is requested to adopt the fiscal year 2026 operating budget in the amount of $3.1554 billion. We ask for your approval of item number 2507-30.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2507-30?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second, Cruz.
Any discussion? Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Brontes?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Carson?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask Bill Brooks, SVP of Capital Delivery, to present item 2507-31.
Thanks, Chris. We're presenting for approval item 2507-31, fiscal year 2026, authorization to secure capital funding. Authorization is requested to take whatever actions are necessary to seek and secure the funds envisioned by this program and projects. Authorization is also requested to transfer funding sources and amounts among program projects as circumstances require in compliance with the terms and conditions of the grants and other funding sources. Authorization is also requested to make application, execute contracts or agreements, and take whatever other actions are necessary to seek and secure funds consistent with the basic intent of this program, which may become available subsequent to its adoption. We ask for your approval of item 2507-31.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2507-31?
Make the motion.
May I have a second?
Second, Cruz.
Any discussion? Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Brontes?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Carson?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to have Bill stay there to do item number 2507-33. 32, sorry.
Thank you. We're presenting for approval item 2507-32, New Jersey Transit Fiscal Year 2026 Grant Programs, Local Transportation for Senior Citizens, Persons with Disabilities, Rural and Low-Income Residents. Authorization is requested to execute, extend, or modify all agreements and contracts and to take all other steps necessary to implement the FY 2026 Grants Program as set forth in the board item. We ask for your approval of item 2507-32.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2507-32?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second, Cruz.
Any discussion? Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Brontes?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Carson?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I'd like Bill to also present 2507-33.
Thank you. We're presenting for approval item 2507-33, New Jersey Transit Resilience Program Distributed Generation Project, Design Build Construction, Construction Management Services, and Design Services Contract Amendments. Authorization is requested to amend the contract with AECOM for construction assistance services in the amount not to exceed $1,556,495, plus 5% contingency, subject to the availability of funds. Authorization is also requested to amend the contract with Burns Engineering for construction management services in the amount not to exceed $5,285,978.08, plus 5% contingency, subject to the availability of funds. Authorization is also requested to amend the contract with Dynamic US, Inc. for final design, construction, and commissioning services in the amount not to exceed $47,584,778.10, plus 5% contingency, subject to the availability of funds. We ask for your approval of item 2507-33.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2507-33?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second, Cruz.
Any discussion? Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Brontes?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Carson?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion, Cruz.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Brontes?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Carson?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Before we adjourn to executive session, I want to let the public know we will return to adjourn the meeting, but no further business will be conducted. May I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters, contract negotiations, the status of pending and anticipated litigation, and matters falling within the attorney-client privilege. May I have a motion? to
So moved.
enter? May I have a second?
Second, Cruz.
Any discussion? Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Brontes?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Carson?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Suzanne, thank you so much, Suzanne.
We have, no, we have enough.
I hereby reconvene the open session board meetings. Megan?
I will now take roll call. Board Member Brontes?
Here.
Board Member Weiss?
Here.
Board Member Caniff?
Here.
Board Member Cruz?
Here.
Chair O'Connor.
Here. Since there's no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second, Cruz.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carry, meeting adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, Michael.